Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. Hey everybody, I am live today with a very special guest, Sarah, and Sarah is coming at us all the way from Spain. Isn't that right?
It is. I'm a Brit in Spain.
Wow, I love it. Well, we're happy to have you here, and I'm going to ask you a little bit more about yourself and your story, getting into what you do. And what we're going to do on this podcast episode is do a little bit of hot seat coaching because Sarah wants to increase her visibility. She wants to get more speaking opportunities. She wants to work with more private clients and eventually develop a group program or something like that. So we're going to just talk a little bit about that and maybe have some coaching moments, and hopefully this will be helpful for the listeners because chances are you have the same goals as Sarah. So Sarah, why don't you share a little bit about what you do, how you got into it, and your story?
Thank you. So what I do, I help people to find the root cause of their symptoms, their diagnoses, their health problems. But I wasn't always a coach. Before that, I was a nurse for 20 years. But after I healed myself and realized how powerful our body is, I had a real conflict going on with nursing in the medical model, dealing with surgery and pills versus understanding how our body works. So I left my job as a nurse, trained as a coach, and now I can help people from my understanding of my nursing background, how disease processes work, how symptoms work, but also my own healing. And I wrote Heal Yourself, a book about my own and 74 others. So I've got insight into their healing things that doctors tell us that we can't heal, that are lifelong, life-threatening. And the crux of healing is understanding the root cause. Once we can heal the root cause rather than keep taking pills to suppress the symptoms, we heal.
I love it. And I think a lot of people who listen to the Health Coach Nation podcast have the same philosophy and belief. And a lot of them have their own health struggles, their own challenges that they overcome too. So when it comes to your coaching experience so far, can you tell me a little bit more about how in the past have you gotten clients and speaking opportunities and that kind of thing?
So when I first started out, after I trained as a coach, I first did a lot of free work, pro bono work, to get reviews and testimonials, helping people to heal themselves. And then as time went on, I found that by using other people's audiences, podcasts, summits, stages, it helps me to spread awareness about myself. I also have people find me on social media. I'm on most social media platforms and I post every day in the main, and people find me through that or through referrals from people who I've seen. Plus I do a local meditation class here in the village, so people know who I am, so they refer on to friends and family.
Awesome. So before there's a couple like frameworks or things that we can look at in your business. And one of the things that I like to do with clients, if they want to increase their reach or increase their clientele, is just start with like lowest hanging fruit and what has worked in the past. And so before adding new things, if that makes sense. So with your referrals, do you have has that just happened organically? Like they've been like, oh, so and
Yeah,
so should okay.
yeah.
Have you ever thought about adding or incorporating some kind of either referral program or like a open house where some your past clients can bring a friend online? Maybe it's a Zoom thing with a theme. Like, do you have any type of referral program or anything like that?
No, never given it a thought.
Okay. So one thing we could brainstorm, and when they refer people, what is it usually for? Is it for a certain symptom? Usually you find themes, or is it like their friend, their family member friend, like what, any themes you've noticed?
I tend to get a lot of stress and emotional problems. People identify stress, but they don't always identify emotional problems. So they'll come with not understanding themselves, or they'll ask me for anger management, or they'll say, I don't know why I keep bursting into tears, or I can't handle these situations and I feel like I'm burdening other people. And it all boils down to emotional problems.
Got it. Okay. So, because the only reason I ask is because sometimes people may feel embarrassed to refer someone because they don't want to say like, oh, I'm referring my really angry, you know, or like my friend has anger management issues. They should talk to you. But or if it's body image, or if it's something sensitive. So the way we want to frame our referral program when we're reaching out to past clients or we're doing an announcement about it to our newsletter list or something is more on the positive side. So saying something along the lines of like, do you have friends who are total powerhouses, but probably have a lot of stress on them and expectations from others? Or maybe, they like, how could you phrase that maybe in a positive way when announcing this?
I like that, powerhouses, or control freaks, or people who like to be liked,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a big one. A lot of people need to be liked, to be validated.
Okay. So maybe you'd say something along the lines, and I'm picturing this either as like, do you have a list of past clients and a newsletter list, or how do you keep in touch with past people?
They're on my email list.
Okay. So one option could be something along the lines of like, it's fall and we're entering the back to school season, and there's a lot of exciting things that happen in the fall. So maybe you could use that as an opportunity to say something along the lines of like, hey, we're headed into probably the busiest season of the year, and chances are, there's a lot on your plate. You want to make everybody happy around you, your family, your coworkers, your friends, and you could say you or someone so give the option both to past clients to reconnect with you, but also if they know someone. And I wanted to let you know that I'm rolling out excuse me, a referral program, where if you refer a friend for and you could do a free mini consult, or you could organize like a group thing, like a class you're going to teach online, because it sounds like you've done classes locally, so you know how to do that. You could either say, we're going to have a big group fun class about how to end the year without and insert some kind of catchy topic. Or you could say, if your friend wants to book a private mini thing of some kind, and they enroll in a service, you would get XYZ incentive, some kind of either commission when they enroll. Now, this would only be if the person enrolls in your
Yeah.
service, but something like that. Or maybe if they refer a certain number of people, they get a free session with you or something, whether or not they sign up or something like that. So maybe brainstorm on that. Is there a certain kind of like incentive that comes to mind, or what do your clients value? Because that's the other thing we have to ask. If your clients don't care about a commission per se, like an affiliate commission, well, then maybe the prize or thing they get if they refer you should be something else. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can do some wellness classes, so they're not actually healing something, but more doing things to stay well. I make a few homemade products that people locally really enjoy. So if they're local, I can get those to them as well. I can give them a free book if they haven't got one already.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a course, but most people that come through me are aware of my course anyway. But when we're doing one-on-one, I don't incorporate my course because we kind of cover most of the things in it on their own wellness journey.
Okay. So I like the idea of maybe if they refer a certain number, whether or not the person signs up, if they refer 3 friends to book a free blah, blah, blah call with you, or if they bring 3 friends to a live class you're going to host or something, they get a book. Like, I love that idea. And I don't know if that would be too much for shipping and handling and whatever, but that's almost like a marketing cost that I think would be worth the investment. And, you know, a price, like you can set a number or something like that for how many referrals.
Yeah.
But then if they actually enroll, maybe they get a book and the course. If they haven't, well, if they're a past client, they may have already looked at that. But what maybe it could be, do you think they would be motivated by a commission or not so much?
I think some might be because of the current economic times, but some definitely won't be. So I would have to think outside the box for something there.
Okay. Well, maybe you have an option. Maybe it's like you either get to choose blank $50 commission or whatever, or something else. And there's, of course, like contract templates for having a affiliate or referral program that you can look into and all that kind of stuff. But even if you start organically with just, here's how to refer someone, they book a call, they mention your name and the how did you hear about me question on my form. Like, you could do it that way if you needed to before you set up we're not going to get into the weeds of like, okay, here's how to set up an affiliate program in your CRM. Like, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But so maybe so do you feel confident that you could put together like a little newsletter as a starting point to
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And even if you want to send it to me after this, you know, I'm happy to just take a quick look and see. But if you haven't caught up with past clients in a while personally, you may also just want to check in on them and see if they have any goals before the end of the year, or personalize it if you can, if it's not a huge, you know, if you're not reaching out to 600 past clients. But I would say personalizing is always a good thing if you can.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, you could also do like a newsletter. So any other questions or thoughts about that?
No, that sounds really good. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So then the other things you said was you get in front of other people's audiences to grow your email list or grow your audience.
Yeah.
You've done some free work in the past to get those first testimonials. Yeah. You've done some local, I think you said a local class or workshop, was it?
Meditation classes, and I do workshops as well periodically.
Cool. So with those, with the local, has that, when you do a meditation class, do you meet people that maybe then book a discovery call with you or have reached out about coaching?
Yeah, I have coached a few of them.
Okay. Which would you say has worked better? Like doing the podcast, being in front of other people's audience summits, etc., or the local?
The local, definitely.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, do you have like a regular strategy for like reaching out to new local places or partnering, or how did this first partnership come about?
I do it solo. It came about because of
you don't host it at another business.
No, I host it in the multipurpose centre here in the village. I mean, we're a tiny village, there's only 1,500 people.
Oh, wow.
So I just advertise it on the local groups on Facebook, and people come. And then, so I do every Monday a meditation class, and then periodically I do different like wellness topic workshops, and I meet different people doing different workshops. And I've got regulars now that come to my workshops, whatever I'm putting on. And most of them come from my meditation class, plus I get extras.
Okay. So if that's the case, I mean, I think you're already doing your own thing, but I'm curious if there's any like places where you guys could co-lead something where it'd be beneficial for both of you, like another type of business in your area, to do just more of the local thing if that's what's working better. So what I mean is, like, if you do wellness, what you do with your wellness coaching, maybe there's an acupuncturist in your, and I don't know, sounds like you live in a really small town.
Tiny.
So I don't know if you'd have to go to a surrounding town to do this, or if this maybe isn't, if you're already maxing out on this or not. But I'm curious if there's like, like, would you say is wellness a thing there? Are there like holistic
We have, some of my friends who are into the wellness, I have a physio friend and a friend who does reflexology, Reiki, acupuncture, but she's Spanish with no English. My physio friend is of a different nationality but speaks English.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking, actually, I wonder if I could look up somebody in, say, Alicante or Torrevieja. Torrevieja and Guatemala are more English areas, so I would be more likely to find somebody to do something together with.
Yeah, I love that idea. So maybe one thing we could do is like make a list of maybe 10 places in those areas, and I'm sure you could Google it and see what comes up, but that complements. So to give you some ideas, it could be acupuncture, it could be a med spa, it could be a spa, it could be like a health food store type of thing. It could be a boutique fitness center, not like a chain one, things like that. Have you done any other partnerships in the past that with like other types of wellness people?
No, I was looking at a retreat here in Spain with a Colombian friend, actually, in the UK, staying at my Spanish friend's bodega, but it didn't move forward like we wanted it to, so we discarded it. But that's something I could look at again.
Yeah.
But I'm actually thinking that the workshops are a better way forwards than a 3 or 4 day retreat.
Sure. Well, it's like a lower commitment as a production. Yeah. And so I love, first of all, it sounds so cool. Your life in Spain. Anyways, what I would say is, if you could say something along the lines of like, hey, I have been hosting a meditation class in such and such area, and it's been going really well, and we have had, X number of participants a couple of times and things like that. And something along the lines of like, I would love to take it. I would love to do more partnerships like this, or take it somewhere else where it would be beneficial. Would you be open to exploring a joint workshop where I could lead a meditation and you could do X, Y, and Z or something like that? Happy to discuss it. Obviously, you don't have to flesh out the whole idea in one message, but maybe more just of, would you be open at talking about potential opportunities with?
In sort of the larger English community areas, or English speaking.
Yeah. Love it. Cool. Okay. So let's start there. And then with the going on podcasts, doing summits, things like that. Why do you think, if you had to guess, and you may not know the answer to this, and that's totally fine, but is there any assumptions you have about why that maybe hasn't been going as well as local? Or
because I get so many people in my inboxes on all my social medias going, could you handle all these extra clients? I can do this for you, I can do that for you. And they're just horribly salesy. It's nasty. That the more of that I read, the less I want to do sales. So I
Mm.
think I haven't worked out a call to action to
Yeah.
add to when I'm a guest on podcasts or speaking on a stage at a summit. I don't, my call to action is virtually non-existent because so
Interesting.
many people are really salesy, and it irks me.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. That was not what I was gonna think you were gonna say. But it's good that you shared that because I think first of all, you're right. Like sometimes we get sales messages as business owners and we let that kind of make us think, well, if I did any call to action, I'm terrible because look at all these and look at how I feel when I get these and that kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
what one of the things that I talk about with clients, I have something called the 4 steps of client attraction. And we talk about how you can't skip from step 1, which is meeting someone, to step 4, which is selling.
Yeah.
So the steps are connect, which is you being visible, whether it's, you guys connect on LinkedIn, like you send a connection request, or they see you at a summit, or they see your response to a question on a post, or whatever it is. Connect is like your visibility,
Yeah.
or they see you speak. Engage is where you ask well, if you're doing a talk, this one will have to be, you'll have to do the work ahead of time to know what kind of challenges your audience has and what kind of things would be relevant to them in a talk and whatnot. But if it's in a dialogue, like if you're meeting someone in person or whatever, this is where you're finding out what would be useful to them. What are they struggling with? What are their goals? What are they looking to solve? Like what would be incredibly valuable to them? And then we make a pre-offer, which is like a freebie. So this is what allows it to feel more natural to invite to your sales stage. So a freebie is like your email lead magnet. Like it's something where in exchange for their email, they get something cool for free or something along those lines. And then the sales is like, do they want to go deeper? Do they need more customized help with this? How did the freebie go for them? Do they want to talk about that on a deeper level? So where people get tripped up is like they either feel really awkward making a sale because they don't know what's useful to the person. Like no one, the invite hasn't really been there to share something because you don't know what's useful. You don't know what their problem is. They didn't share any concerns with you. So it'd be really awkward to just make a sale out of the blue. Or your pre-offer is you don't announce that or invite to that, and that's the door into sales. So and or you don't have one, or it's not aligned with what people want to need. So do you have you ever tried a lead magnet or freebie or anything like that?
Yeah, I've had a few. I've just written some more, and they're all like ebooks, and I have exchanged several ebooks for emails. But I was talking to somebody today actually who said some people are a little hesitant to give you their email. So sometimes it's better to be in their DM box. So I had a conversation with him around that. And I need to set up a spreadsheet, I think, to write name, platform, and
Mm,
date of giving an ebook, and then maybe chase it up in a week's time, but
sure.
not on a salesy, like, how did you find the ebook? Did you gain any benefit from it? What are your thoughts and feelings? And has it brought any challenges up? Just so it's more conversational, because I just don't do that head on sales. It's horrible.
Right, right. Well, and yeah, we call this conversational marketing. It's a real thing and it's
Okay.
organic and it's really asking open-ended questions and making it permission based, meaning before you just send the freebie, it'd be something along the lines of like, would it be useful, if they were saying, oh, let's say you connected with someone and you said, hey, like, thanks for being a new LinkedIn connection here.
Yeah.
um, I'm looking to post content that's really helpful in the realm of health and solving emotional, but insert whatever it is that you do. Would there be anything really useful for you that I could post about or something
Yeah.
like that? So like an
Yeah.
open question. And then when they share, if you have a freebie about that already, or a post about that already, then you can invite to that pre-offer and kind of like what you're saying and keep track. But I do think it's okay for it to be an email opt-in
Yeah.
expressed in the message. So it'd be like something like, I have this free such and such. If you do want to, would it make sense for me to send it over? And then you send over the landing page to opt into it, for
Yeah,
example.
and I've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I think I've got 3 landing pages for different ebooks, so I'm giving people information about a subject that they're interested in.
Cool. Yeah. And it's not to say that you can't do what the other person was suggesting, where you just share the ebook and you do keep track and you do follow up via DMs and all that. It's just that as you grow, it's going to be better to be growing your list so that
Yeah.
the follow-up sequence you have already in your email system, you're at least getting a follow-up there, so that if you don't remember, if you can't be doing this all the time, they're still being nurtured by you on your email list. And the other thing I would say to look at is think about your audience and their limitations and their time constraints and how they like to receive information, and consider, like, is an ebook the most attractive thing or way for them to get this info? Because what I've seen, and I used to have an ebook as my very, very first freebie, and I found that a lot of people are really busy. An ebook doesn't sound super sexy. I got to read it. I got to remember to, so think about, could it be a cheat sheet or checklist or a something very quick, micro focused to help them on one like little mini goal or little mini outcome. How long are these ebooks? Because maybe they're short, and I don't know, but
They're between 13 and 17 pages.
okay.
There's a lot of information in it.
Gotcha. So I just did a live event like last week. And I was going to take the replays down. I haven't done it yet. I need to. I'm very behind on that. But anyways, I am going to send it to you, because it breaks down, like, how do you pick a compelling freebie? How do you deliver it? I
Okay.
think that might help with just taking a look at the current freebies and then seeing if you need to make tweaks or whatnot. But which one, has there been one that's been most popular or well received?
Yeah, the weight loss one. I
Okay.
got quite a lot of emails back from that.
Okay. So that's a good thing to know. And what's the title of it?
I don't know.
It's okay.
There's like half a sentence and weight loss is in it. But I just store it as weight loss. I'd store everything as basic so that I can just pick and choose. Because I think I've got about 6 different ebooks now, and I've only done 3 on landing pages. I've got others to give away for different things.
Okay. Well, that's totally cool. I know I forget the names I have so many freebies now that it's hard to, and you try to give it a jazzy title and then to remember it off the top of the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so returning back to the original problem, which is I'm afraid to sell, or I'm afraid to have a call to action. What I would suggest is, after you've looked at the freebie thing and refined what it is, determine what are the 3 main, so next time you're going to be on podcasts, summits, that kind of thing. What are if you had to, in a bite-sized little blurb, share the title of the freebie, 3 main benefits of using it, and why they should get it now. And that could be as simple as it's about, weight loss during the holidays or something. I mean, it could be a seasonal thing, or it could be like, it's a live freebie. It's a live class. It's gonna expire or something. But if there's something you can work in as to why now, what is it, and why should they use it, that would be a good thing to practice and prep for future things.
Yeah.
And on a scale of like 1 to 5, 1 being like, no, that sounds way too scary, salesy, etc. 5 being like, no, if I like practiced that and determined my hook bullet points and remembered that, this is actually just a free thing that I'm giving? Like, where do you fall in that and comfort level sharing it?
I'm working with the camera. It's been a long 18 months. So I'm still working with some camera anxiety. So whilst it is anxiety provoking, I know I need to do it. So yes, I can do that. So I would go like 4 out of 5 because I am working with the camera. I can do it. I do audio cast, but I've with a video as well.
Nice.
So yeah.
Why would it be almost like, because here's the other thing, if you teach on a podcast or anything like that, it's not even very useful unless there is a next step for people to follow to implement what you've shared or take action from it. So one way that I like to see it that helped me kind of work through that concern of being like, oh, I don't want to be salesy, is like, first of all, it's free. Second of all, but you still have to sell it because free things take people time, and time is a very valuable asset, right?
Yeah.
But the way that I see it is, if I don't give them a next step, like all this stuff we just talked about is just wasted an hour of their time because they're not going to remember. They're not, maybe they wrote notes, but they're probably not going to do anything with it. And so if I give a freebie that like recaps or gives a checklist or gives them implementation or something, that's a service. And I think the other thing is focus so much on the audience member and what they need and what they want, and out of your head. Like, so think about, okay, yeah, I'm focused on how I sound and how talking about me, it's not about that. It's about how can I really focus on them and how they can benefit from this freebie and that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And I try and focus on the message. It's not about me, it's about the message. You know, you can heal yourself. You just have to believe in it. And that's what keeps pushing me forwards and stepping me out of the comfort zone.
I love it. Amazing. And you do go on video a lot. I've seen, I mean, I looked at your socials before this. I was like, dang, this, she is crushing it. When you were saying visibility, I'm like, you're very visible and you're getting some good engagement, even if it's small. Some people don't get any and zero. And so you're getting organic engagement, which is really good. So, one other thing about the audiences, because I'll just share from my experience when I do collabs with people who are very narrowed in on my niche, it goes really well versus if I do general collabs, like I'm a part of a summit that's a little broader to all types of entrepreneurs or all, I find that it doesn't go as well. So when you're doing these things, are you getting on like what kind of collaboration partners or podcasts or things like that? Are they about general health or is it about like emotional anger management podcasts or something?
No, it's general health. I make sure it's aligned with health in some way. Mm-hmm. I've been on some business ones because this is my second business. So I talk about stepping out of my job and stepping into entrepreneurship, winning awards, closing that down. So I've got the business side of it and I've got the health side of it. And I choose the summits and podcasts that align with those. I don't just think I'll jump on any podcast. I make sure that the information I'm sharing is aligned with what the summit, the podcast is about.
Cool. Yeah. And of course you can always customize your messaging or your training or your whatever for the particular situation. But one thing I would consider, because your messaging still, when I was looking at it, it is a little bit broad. It is like, I help you get to the root and solve your health problems. So it is people who want to do that, but there's a million different health problems and a million different emotional regulation problems. So maybe consider some what we call like micro niches that you could have very captivating, like pick maybe the top 3 most captivating examples of health problems you solve and see within those, can I have a really good freebie about that? And can I get on very specific podcasts just about that? Because, or summits or whatever it is. Cause I see too often, it's like I'm not someone who's like, oh my God, you need a very narrow niche. And if you don't, you will fail. I think some people can be a little more broad and make it work. But I do think you're going to probably be more of a slam dunk on those opportunities when it is really, really, your examples are narrow. The freebie is narrow, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool. So just to kind of recap, we didn't even get into new things yet, which we might have to do on another podcast because we're getting close to the end of the podcast. But let's just kind of recap. What are your top takeaways or next steps that you want to do to improve what you already have?
So I like the idea of collaboration. So I'm going to go and look at what's available in Torrevieja and Guatemala and reach out to people there. I'm going to offer some incentives for referrals through my email list. And I'm going to look at, I've always shied away from it, but I'm going to look at doing some lives as to advertise, to do some lives around a certain subject regarding health and healing.
Nice.
Maybe advertise it through my email list and social medias, and then jump on live and do maybe question and answers. And also maybe rather than an ebook, have a video or online workshop that people can attend for free. Lots of different things milling around in my mind.
Cool. Yeah, maybe even one of your guided meditations could be interesting.
Yeah.
I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you for being our brave volunteer today on the podcast. And I do want to let everybody know how they can connect with you. And one thing I just want to share for people listening is there's kind of two different things that I do with clients. One is coaching, where we're asking questions and we're helping the client get to their own answer. But the other thing that I do is consulting and strategy, because sometimes in business, when you're new to that skill set, you don't necessarily know the answers are not always super clear about, like, example, what is the average percentage of people on social media who see your posts? Like, I don't expect you to know that within your own self. So sometimes I do consult and sometimes I do strategy, as you see here on this episode. But that said, if you're, curious about getting support with your own strategy or seeking coaching out for your business and marketing, feel free to reach out. I'm at HaileyRowe.com. And Sarah, how can everybody connect with you, check you out, read your book?
I'm at sarahDawkins.com. Sarah with an H, Dawkins, Dawkins. There's links to my book, my podcast, my course, my email, my socials, all through my website.
Awesome. I love it. And now, because you're on a podcast right now, I'm going to give you one option to practice your share one freebie that you have. And why would somebody want it?
I have an ebook about which one? If you
don't want to, it's okay. But I thought I would use it because I know that's a scary thing for you.
Yeah. But I have let's go with core beliefs, because core beliefs are really important. How to assess our core beliefs, how to change our core beliefs, to validate a new one. So my core belief primarily was I need a doctor and a medicine to make me healthy, because that was my mum's core belief. And now my core belief is my body heals when I support it, and it heals more efficiently. Ooh. And I will give you the link to my landing page for that ebooklet.
Nice. See, there we go. Your core, and you even gave an example. But I would say one of your core beliefs with sales is that I've received so many bad sales emails and I don't like it. And so we need a new core belief, like, I got so many amazing freebies. It's for me not to share it or something.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, Sarah. I really, really appreciate you. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Hailey. Take care.
So much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.